In my video about the hegemony of the US dollar, many netizens asked, since Americans are harvesting the world through the US dollar, why doesn't China vigorously develop the RMB or other payment systems? In fact, China is indeed promoting the BRICS payment system, but China does not have much hope for the results, only promotes it as a long-term strategy. Because at present, the US dollar and SWIFT are still the most convenient payment methods. There are many countries with poor credibility on this planet. Using local currencies to trade with them is equivalent to using real products and services in exchange for a pile of waste paper. Therefore, China would rather use US dollars and SWIFT transactions than to conduct local currency settlement with these countries. Yes, netizens familiar with this channel must first think of the Barred Empire. But let's let it rest for a few minutes and talk about Argentina first. As a member of the G20, Argentina's economic strength was quite good at its peak. It was once the most developed country in South America, and its quality of life was higher than that of Europe. However, Argentina has been in decline in recent decades, and the political situation is not very stable. Milei criticized China many times during the campaign, hoping to strengthen trade relations with the United States and Western countries. But such clowns have forgotten the American principle of doing things. You either sit at the table or on the menu. Milei's unilateral show of goodwill to the United States, in addition to the opportunity to take photos with Trump and Musk, cannot bring any practical benefits to Argentina. China once reached a 30 billion yuan local currency swap agreement with Argentina when it was in economic difficulties, but soon the Argentine peso depreciated rapidly and almost became waste paper. Milei began to turn to China for help and praised China as a great trading partner. Faced with these political clowns and rogue countries, China, which does not like to start wars, really has no way to deal with them. Instead of using local currencies to trade with such untrustworthy countries, it is better to let them pay in US dollars. The US dollar will not become waste paper anyway, and it is also supported by the world's most powerful military. Therefore, promoting the diversification of trading methods is only an option for China. If China-US relations continue to deteriorate, China will reduce its dependence on the US dollar even if it pays a higher cost. But if China and the United States can still resolve differences through negotiations, and there is still a glimmer of hope for compromise, China would rather use US dollars and SWIFT transactions. You may not know that Huawei is one of China's largest beef importers. Yes, Huawei has built a large number of telecommunications facilities in Argentina, but Argentina cannot afford to pay in US dollars. Huawei dare not accept Argentine pesos, so it can only choose to ship Argentine beef to China for sale. A high-tech company was forced by reality to become a livestock company. If there were better options, Huawei would not choose to sell beef. What surprised Huawei was that the Chinese praised Argentine beef, saying that it tasted good and was cheap, so Huawei finally did not lose money. If Huawei did not have the huge domestic market of China, who would it sell beef to? Finally, it is the time that everyone is looking forward to. We invite the Barred Empire to appear. After the escalation of the Russian-Ukrainian war, India, which has long been supported by Russia's military technology, did not strongly support Russia, but became a two-faced person. Indians buy Russian energy at low prices and then sell it at high prices in the international market. What's more terrifying is that Indians actually pay in rupees. After receiving the rupee, the Russians found that it was worthless in the international market and could not buy anything useful at all. So the Russians can only use it to buy military equipment sold to India a long time ago, which is better than getting nothing. No matter how bad Argentina is, it dare not default openly. It still has to pay back its debts. In any case, it has a lot of natural resources, especially animal husbandry, which can provide a lot of beef. The worst result of doing business with Argentina is to get some beef back and resell it yourself so as not to lose money. When doing business with Indians, you have to face the government with the worst reputation in the world. Even if you want to barter, you need to face the reality that India has no world-renowned products except cow dung. When doing business with countries like India, the Chinese have summed up several useful experiences. 1. Only accept US dollars and SWIFT transactions, and never accept Indian rupees, because they are worthless in the international market and cannot buy anything valuable. There is no difference between holding rupees and holding waste paper, unless you want to develop in India for a long time in the future and keep your main wealth in India. 2. 80% or even 100% of the payment must be received before the goods can be shipped. Once your goods are on the ship, whether you can get the remaining payment depends entirely on luck. You can choose to trust Indians, but they will always betray your trust in ways you can't expect. I am not saying that there are no honest individuals or institutions in India, but the proportion is really too small. 3. Any business only considers the current contract, not long-term cooperation and common development. Because this concept does not exist in India, everyone is short-sighted. If you want to grow and expand your influence in the Indian market by supporting an Indian partner, then I can only tell you that you think too much, and you need to read the story of the farmer and the snake more times. The United States is better than China in one aspect. That is, when facing countries like India and Argentina, it has both soft words and big sticks. If you want to use US dollars for transactions, you must abide by the rules of the Americans, otherwise the bomb may fall at any time. Therefore, as long as possible, China is still willing to let the United States continue to lead the world. The United States can continue to print dollars to harvest the world and let Americans live the most luxurious life in the world. The Chinese just want to quietly make a little money and live a decent life. After all, being the world's boss is not an easy thing. But it is a pity that Americans are unwilling to accept such a win-win world pattern. They have to play a life-and-death confrontation game with China, which is puzzling. Yes, the United States has defeated countless competitors, but it is not that the United States has never lost a war. Fighting a war of national strength with a comprehensive power like China will cost a heavy price even if it wins, and if it loses, it may face an abyss. Therefore, after Trump returns to the White House, I have some expectations for him. At least he is a businessman, and he can talk to China about any requirements he has for China. As long as it is beneficial to both sides, we should try our best to reach a compromise and promote cooperation rather than confrontation. It is better to make the pie bigger together than to fight a full-scale war.